Coco Gauff advanced to the final of the Rome Open for the second consecutive year after a dominant straight-sets win over Sorana Cîrstea on Thursday. After 3 consecutive 3-set matches earlier in the week, the world number 4 delivered her cleanest performance of the tournament to move 1 win away from the title. Gauff had already come through a demanding rout in Rome, defeating Teresa Valentova, Solana Sierra, 16th seed Iva Jovic, 8th seed Mira Andreeva and Cîrstea to reach the championship match. The semi-final represented a clear shift from the physical battles of the previous rounds, with Gauff controlling the match from the baseline and serving far more effectively than earlier in the tournament. Cîrstea had pushed Gauff to 3 sets in both Miami and Madrid earlier this season, but the Rome semi-final quickly moved in a different direction. Gauff finished with a 78% first serve percentage, won 74% of points behind her first serve and committed only 1 double fault. She also saved 2 of the 5 break points she faced while converting 5 of 6 opportunities on return. The Rome run comes at a significant moment in the calendar for Gauff, who is playing her final tournament before the French Open, where she arrives as defending champion. She will now contest the 7th WTA 1000 final of her career, carrying a 3-3 record in finals at that level, with all 3 titles coming on hard courts. Awaiting her in the final is the winner between Iga Swiatek and Elina Svitolina. Gauff controls the matchup from the start. Unlike their previous meetings this season, Gauff never allowed Cîrstea to consistently take control of rallies. The American absorbed the Romanian's aggressive ball striking well, extended points when necessary and protected her second serve far more effectively than in earlier rounds. "I was just expecting the battle and I think on those bigger points I was able to be more steady," Gauff said to Tennis Channel after her victory. "I was able to make it physical and not let her dictate. When you let her dictate, it's really hard. Also, I think my first serve percentage was pretty high, so that was important because she's pretty aggressive on the second serves." Gauff also highlighted the contrast between the daytime conditions against Cîrstea and the heavier night session she played against Andreeva in the previous round. Against Cîrstea, her serve consistently earned free points and allowed her to control patterns early in rallies, something she felt had been missing during the tougher evening conditions earlier in the week. "I felt the difference when I was serving today versus my night match against Mira. I was like, oh, my serves are actually doing some damage on the court. So it's definitely a little bit easier when it's daytime. It was really heavy during that match." The performance marked a notable improvement after several physically demanding matches during the tournament. Gauff acknowledged afterward that the semi-final was among her strongest displays of the season and admitted she felt far more comfortable on court compared to the previous rounds in Rome. "Yeah, for sure. I definitely felt really comfortable out there today, which I'm happy about because of some long ones this week. Overall, I thought it was for sure one of my best matches this season so far." Rome form arrives at the right time before Roland Garros. The result continues a trend for Gauff during the clay season, with her level typically improving as the calendar approaches Roland Garros. Earlier in 2025, she finished runner-up in both Madrid and Rome, and she again appears to be building momentum at the most important stage of the European swing. Gauff suggested that her team intentionally structures training to help her peak around the Grand Slams. "Yeah, for sure. Obviously everyone wants to do well at the slams, but even coming into these tournaments, my team maybe has a grand training plan that I don't know about to get me physically and mentally peaking at the slams. For some reason, every time around this year I start to play better, so it's clearly working." Gauff also reflected on the difference between arriving on tour as a young player without expectations and competing now with far more experience at the latter stages of major events. Although still only 22, she noted that repeated deep runs inevitably change the perspective surrounding quarterfinals and semifinals at the biggest tournaments. "I honestly think it depends on the player. Sometimes your first year on tour is the easiest in a way, if you're a great talent, because there's no points, no pressure. Every tournament is a new experience. Then people start talking and making a quarterfinal is not seen as such a great result, it becomes expected. So it's kind of both sides. It's great to be in that ignorance is bliss phase, and it's also great to have a lot of experience in those moments." Maybe your first quarterfinal or semifinal feels bigger, whereas now I don't know how many semifinals I've played at this level, so it doesn't feel as big. It's a bit of both.